Have you ever noticed how sometimes like things kind of fall apart
Huh.
right before something amazing happens?
Yeah, it's almost like a universal law or something, right?
Yeah, like maybe things have to like get worse before they can get better. So welcome to Manifestation Matters, everybody.
Yeah, welcome. Glad to be back.
We're doing a deep dive today into this idea, and it's a fascinating one. The idea that adversity actually sets us up for success.
Absolutely, yeah. And the source material really dives deep into this concept, exploring it as a kind of hidden blessing.
Okay, so let's jump right in. One of the sources uses this really powerful analogy of like a sculptor working with a block of marble.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
So at first, it seems like the sculptor is just destroying the stone.
Right, just chipping away at it with like a hammer and chisel.
Yeah, totally. And I guess it's how we often experience challenges, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We feel like we're being, broken down, diminished. But the sculptor isn't trying to destroy the marble, right? They see something else, something more.
They see the masterpiece hidden within.
Exactly. They understand the potential of the marble, even when it looks, rough and unformed.
So basically what you're saying is that we all have this like inner masterpiece just waiting to be revealed by life's little chisels. I mean, that's kind of a beautiful way to look at it.
I think so. It's about seeing the potential in even the most challenging situations.
Okay, I'm with you. So how does this actually work?
Hmm.
Like, what's the purpose of all this, metaphorical hammering?
Well, the source material outlines a few key purposes. One is this idea of clearing the path. It's like, think of it like decluttering a closet.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Sometimes we need to get rid of things that, don't serve us anymore, like old habits, limiting beliefs.
Even relationships sometimes?
Exactly. We have to let go of that stuff to make room for something new and better.
Okay, so adversity is like a cosmic KonMari method. It forces us to confront what's not sparking joy and just get rid of it.
Haha. Yeah, you could say that.
I like it. Makes sense. But I imagine it's pretty hard to see that bigger picture when you're, in the middle of a crisis and everything feels like it's falling apart.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's much easier said than done.
So what can we actually do? Like, what are some practical steps we can take to kind of like navigate those really tough moments?
Well, the source material offers some really helpful, insightful practices. And one of the most helpful, especially for gaining clarity in challenging times, is cultivating inner peace.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I'm all about that woo-woo stuff.
Right. Well, this might sound a little woo-woo, but stay with me. Practices like mindfulness and meditation can be incredibly helpful here.
Oh, I'm a big fan of meditation.
Yeah, and they really help you become more aware of your thoughts and emotions, but without judgment.
Oh, that's key.
It's about creating that space, that sense of calm, even when everything around you feels, turbulent.
So it's like learning to kind of like ride the waves without getting swept away by them.
Yeah, precise.
That sounds super valuable, especially when you're dealing with like, major life challenges.
It really is. And, the more you practice these techniques, the better you become at navigating those difficult emotions. And then you can, respond to challenges with a lot more clarity and intention. And you know what? This is where it gets really interesting. The source material suggests that this ability to stay calm in the face of adversity, well, it might actually be one of the keys to attracting positive outcomes.
Okay, hold on. Are we saying our inner state can actually influence what happens to us in the outside world?
That's exactly what the source material is suggesting. It aligns with that whole idea that, our thoughts and beliefs actually shape our reality.
Ooh, now we're getting into some really juicy territory. So staying calm helps us make better decisions, attract more positive experiences.
It can, yeah.
But what about when things feel totally out of our control? Like when we get hit with a setback that seemingly comes out of nowhere. How do we deal with that kind of adversity?
Well, that's where the idea of preparing for the prize comes in. Our sources use this analogy of a young eagle, learning to fly.
Okay, I'm listening.
Those early attempts, they're awkward. They're even kind of terrifying at times, right?
Yeah, definitely.
The eaglet, it might, tumble and get discouraged, might even doubt its ability to ever actually soar.
But it's in those struggles that it's actually strengthening its wings, building its confidence.
Exactly. And ultimately preparing for that, amazing feeling of freedom that comes with flight.
So it's like life's putting us through a training program, even when we didn't sign up for it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you could say that. But remember, there's a purpose behind it, those challenges. They're designed to help us level up, to become the strongest, most capable versions of ourselves.
No, okay, I like that. So we've got clearing the path, we've got preparing for the prize. Is there anything else these challenges are trying to teach us?
There is, and this one might be the most intriguing of all. The sources suggest that adversity also serves as a test of faith.
A test of faith.
Yeah. Now, this isn't necessarily about, religious faith. It's about how deeply do we believe in our desires, in our ability to actually achieve our goals, even in, the ultimate goodness of the universe.
So challenges are like this cosmic litmus test for our commitment. Like, are we really serious about what we say we want?
Exactly. Think about it. It's easy to say we want something when, things are going well. But when we hit a roadblock, when we're faced with setbacks and obstacles, that's when we really see, how committed we truly are.
Okay, I'm with you.
So adversity is like a filter. It separates those who are just kind of, casually interested from those who are really dedicated to achieving their goals.
That makes sense. But, this whole test of faith thing, it's not about being punished, right?
It's not about punishment. It's actually an opportunity to strengthen our resolve, to really refine our intentions, and ultimately to get clear on what we truly want.
So it's more like a refining process. Kind of like, refining gold in a fire. Gets rid of the impurities.
Exactly. The heat might be intense, but that's what makes the gold shine even brighter,
That's a great analogy. So even if we feel like we're being burned by these challenges, we're actually being refined, becoming more valuable in the process.
Exactly.
But this process, it can feel really difficult, right? Especially when you're in the thick of it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's not easy.
What happens when those doubts creep in? When we start to question, our faith in ourselves and our goals, how do we navigate those moments?
That's a great question. And that's where we'll pick things up after a quick break. Stay tuned. So when those doubts start creeping in, and they will, it's really important to remember that these challenges, they're not meant to punish us. They're meant to guide us, refine our intentions and ultimately prepare us for something even more amazing than we could have imagined at the beginning.
Yeah, it's like all those inspirational quotes you see on Instagram, right? Embrace the chaos and all that stuff. But how do we actually put that into practice? When we're in the thick of it, when we're feeling totally overwhelmed.
Well, the source material actually offers some really practical advice for navigating those really tough moments.
Okay, lay it on me.
One that I find particularly powerful is the practice of gratitude.
Gratitude. Really, it sounds kind of counterintuitive to focus on what you're grateful for when, everything's falling apart, right?
It might seem that way, but trust me on this one.
Okay.
Gratitude is it's like a superpower. It shifts our perspective from a place of lack to a place of abundance.
From focusing on what's wrong to appreciating what we have.
Exactly. And even in the darkest of times, there are always things to be grateful for: a roof over our heads, the support of loved ones. Heck, just the fact that we woke up this morning, another day to learn and grow.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like training our minds to look for those little glimmers of hope, those small victories, even amidst the chaos.
So it's not about denying the negative. It's more about choosing to focus on the positive.
That's it, exactly. And here's the thing about gratitude. When we cultivate it, we actually start to attract more things to be grateful for.
It's like we're sending out this signal to the universe, right? Hey, I'm ready to receive more good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Gratitude becomes this magnet for positive experiences.
I love that idea. But what about when we're really struggling to find those glimmers of hope? What if we're feeling totally lost and alone?
That's when it becomes incredibly important to seek support. We're not meant to go through these challenges alone. Reaching out to trusted friends or family members, maybe a mentor, a therapist even. It can provide a real lifeline when we're feeling overwhelmed.
I agree with that 100%. Sometimes just talking things out with someone who, really gets it can make all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. It's that feeling of being seen and heard of, knowing that you're not alone in this.
Yeah, totally. But what about when the advice we're getting, even from well-meaning people, just doesn't quite resonate? What if we're getting all these conflicting opinions, or the suggestions just don't feel right? How do we navigate that?
That is a great question. And it leads us to, the final and probably most important tip from our sources: trusting the process.
Trusting the process, huh?
Yeah, okay.
This can be one of the most challenging parts of navigating adversity.
Yeah.
Especially when we're feeling impatient or uncertain about the outcome.
Yeah, I can see that. It takes a lot of surrender, doesn't it? Letting go of the need to control everything.
Yeah, letting go of that need to control and trusting that there's a bigger plan unfolding, even if we can't see the whole picture just yet.
It's like the saying, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans.
Exactly. We can try to micromanage every little detail, but in the end, we just got to trust,
Yeah.
Trust that there's something bigger at work, guiding us toward our highest good. Okay, I like that. But how do we actually cultivate that trust, especially when it feels like everything's falling apart around us?
Well, one way is to look back on our lives and try to notice the times when we face those challenges that actually led to really positive outcomes. Think of any examples in your own life.
Yeah, actually, there's one that comes to mind. When I got laid off from my job a few years back, it felt absolutely devastating at the time.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, but it actually forced me to reevaluate my career path and led me to pursue my passion for podcasting, which I probably wouldn't have had the courage to do otherwise. So yeah, it was definitely a blessing in disguise looking back.
There you go.
I just didn't see it at the time.
Right. And the more we can recognize those patterns in our own lives, the more we can trust that even the current challenge, no matter how difficult it feels, is ultimately leading us towards something better.
So it's about remembering that, things might get worse before they get better, but there's always a reason for optimism.
Absolutely. Remember, the universe isn't against you, it's for you. Those challenges, they're often like signposts, pointing you towards your true purpose, your greatest desires.
That is such a reassuring thought. Even when things feel chaotic, there's this underlying order, this guiding force that's leading us towards something truly incredible.
Yeah, you got it.
But how do we actually tap into that force, make sure we're on the right path?
Well, one way is to pay attention to our intuition, those little inner nudges and whispers that guide us toward our truth.
Okay, I like that.
And sometimes those nudges come in the form of, well, let's just say unexpected challenges. It's like the universe giving us a little, sometimes a not so gentle course correction.
So it's about learning to listen to those inner whispers and trusting that even the detours and roadblocks are ultimately leading us in the right direction.
Exactly. And the more we can surrender to that process, the more magical the journey becomes. But remember, this isn't about passive resignation. It's about actively engaging with those challenges, learning from them, and using them as fuel for our growth.
So it's like this balance, right, between surrender and action.
Precisely. And finding that balance, it's a lifelong journey. But, the more we practice, the more skilled we become at navigating these ups and downs of life.
Right. I mean, we're really starting to see adversity in a whole new light. It's not something to be afraid of, but rather an essential part of the journey.
That's it.
But I have to admit, this whole process can feel kind of overwhelming, especially when you're first starting out. Are there any specific practices or tools that can help us cultivate this mindset of embracing adversity?
There are, absolutely. And that's something we'll delve into after a quick break. Stay tuned for some practical strategies for turning those challenges into, real opportunities for growth and transformation.
Okay, so we've talked about the purpose of adversity and the importance of gratitude and support and the power of trusting the process.
Right.
But are there any actual tools, things we can use to actually shift our mindset and embrace those challenges when they inevitably show up?
Yeah, absolutely. One powerful technique that the sources emphasize is visualization.
Visualization, okay.
Yeah, imagine yourself successfully navigating a challenge that's currently stressing you out,
Okay.
Picture yourself feeling calm, confident, and resourceful as you're overcoming those obstacles.
So we're basically creating a mental movie of ourselves as, the hero of our own story.
Exactly. We're essentially rewiring our brains to believe that we can handle it, that we have what it takes to overcome adversity.
I like that. And the more we do it, the more we believe it, right?
Yeah, exactly. The more we engage in that positive visualization, the more we strengthen those neural pathways in our brain, making it more likely that we'll actually respond to challenges with resilience.
That's pretty cool. It's we're training our minds to expect success, even when things are tough. But what about those, negative thoughts and doubts? The ones that creep in when we're feeling stressed. How do we deal with those?
The sources recommend a technique called reframing.
Reframing?
Yeah, it's about consciously shifting our perspective on a situation.
Okay.
So instead of viewing a challenge as, a threat or a setback, we can try to see it as an opportunity.
An opportunity for what?
For growth, for learning, maybe even a chance to, develop new skills.
So it's about, finding the silver lining, even when things are really tough.
Precisely. It's not about denying the difficulty. It's about acknowledging the challenge, but choosing to focus on the potential positive outcomes.
So if you're like going through a breakup, for example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Instead of dwelling on the pain and the loss, you could try to reframe it as an opportunity to learn more about yourself, your needs in a relationship, and maybe attract a partner who's a better fit for you down the line.
Okay, I like that. So we're basically like turning lemons into lemonade, right? Finding those like hidden blessings.
That's a great way to put it. And, the more we practice this kind of reframing, the more empowered we become to actually navigate adversity, with a little more grace, even like a sense of humor about it all.
Like we're becoming alchemists, right?
Yeah.
We're turning those, what was it? Leaden challenges into golden opportunities.
Yeah.
But I got to be honest with you, even with all these tools and techniques,
Mm.
it's natural to feel a little, apprehensive when facing adversity.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to like completely eliminate that fear?
Probably not completely, but the sources suggest that instead of trying to eliminate the fear, we can learn to, dance with it.
Dance with the fear.
Yeah. Acknowledge it, accept that it's a normal human experience, and then choose to, move forward anyway.
It's like that Nelson Mandela quote, right? Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it.
There you go.
Yeah.
And remember, courage isn't about being fearless. It's about taking action even when you are afraid, trusting that you have the strength to handle whatever comes your way.
This has been such an insightful conversation. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on adversity. It's not something to be like dreaded or avoided, but actually an essential part of, the journey to a fulfilling life.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. It shapes us, it strengthens us, and ultimately, it helps us become the best versions of ourselves.
I love that. Well, listeners, we've covered a lot of ground today. We explored the transformative power of adversity, talked about the importance of, mindset shifts and those practical techniques for navigating challenges. What stands out to you most from our deep dive today?
For me, it's just the reminder that we don't have to go through this alone, We have each other, we have those inner resources, and we have a universe that's totally rooting for us. Even when things are tough, we can always choose to focus on the good stuff, those hidden blessings and opportunities for growth.
Beautifully said. And as we wrap up this episode, I'd like to leave you with a question to ponder. What challenge are you facing right now that might actually be setting the stage for something amazing? Maybe it's a career change, a shift in a relationship, a health issue, or any other obstacle that's testing your strength. Remember, this too shall pass. And you have the power to not only overcome this challenge, but to use it as a springboard for growth.
Yeah, the universe has your back. Trust the process, embrace the journey, and just, watch as the magic unfolds.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the alchemy of adversity. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. And remember, even in the darkest of times, there's always a reason for hope, a reason to believe that something amazing is just around the corner.